Hey, how's it going, everyone? This short video is going to show you how you can use Zapier to implement split testing in your Infusionsoft campaigns and broadcasts. So, first of all, I should call out that there are some other solutions that probably handle this more eloquently. I know you could do split testing with both Plus this as well as My Fusion Helper. But if you have Zapier already and you don't want to purchase another tool, you can do it fairly easily with Zapier, and that was news to me, so I wanted to make sure I shared it with all of you. So first, you're going to want to set up a custom field which will hold the split testing value, right? So the goal is to split them into 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 groups or what have you. So what I'm going to do is actually just create a custom field, and it's going to be called split test, right? And you can call it whatever you want, but the concept is the same. I'm going to set it to whole number. And then we'll just decide where we want to add this. I'll just add it to my custom fields tab, custom fields header, and click save. Okay, so now we've got our split test custom field right there. It's a whole number field. The next thing to do is to configure a zap. So if you already have Zapier, you're going to go ahead and click Make a Zap. And for anyone who's curious, Zapier is a tool that makes coding a lot easier. So it already has prepackaged code formulas to connect systems that otherwise wouldn't communicate. So that's where Zapier fits in here. So Infusionsoft is one of those systems, so I'm going to choose Infusionsoft. And I want this particular zap to trigger on any new contact. Now, to be clear, you could choose a different trigger, right? You could choose it only to trigger when they sign up for your blog and they have the blog tag, right? Or some other specific instance where you want that to happen. But let's just go with every new contact so that moving forward, anyone who comes into my database will be split into a couple different groups. And then we click the next option here where we select which Infusionsoft account we want this to take place for. And I want it to take place for my Monkeypod account. And then we can go ahead and test this. So in order to test it, I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new contact. So let's create Jeg Grenkins, okay? And his email address is jeg@grenkins.com. And we'll go ahead and click save. So Jeg Grenkins has now been created. And you can see on the custom fields tab, the split test value is 0, okay? So let's go ahead and fetch and continue here. So it's looking for an existing contact, meaning someone who has been created recently, and hey, it was successful. So now we can view the contact details. You can see that first name is Jeg, last name is Grenkins, the email is jeg@grenkins, and so it found the appropriate contact, right? I just did that so that we could see that it was working with some recent data. Now, the next step is where we want to actually perform that split test. So we're going to scroll down here to the built-in Zapier functions, and the one we're going to look for is actually called Formatter. So if you use Zapier, you may never have touched these different built-in integrations or built-in apps, and they're actually quite useful, as I am discovering recently. So we're going to click on Formatter. And it gives you a few different options here. So utilities, text, numbers, or date and time. The one we want here is numbers. So we'll click next as well. And then we're going to choose spreadsheet style formula. So there's different formatting options here for the numbers. There's math operations if you want to add a couple fields together. But what we're looking for is spreadsheet style formula. And if you're curious at all about this, there's an article in the Zapier help section which covers exactly what you can do with the spreadsheet style formula. It even gives you specific formulas that you can copy and paste to try different things, right? So if we scroll all the way down to the RAND section, that's this one, this is where we assign a random number between two integers. So rand between, and this is again a spreadsheet formula, so if you're good with Excel or Google Sheets, this probably looks familiar to you. And then you can assign the min and the max number. So let's go back over here, paste that in, rand between, and I'm going to do random between 1 and 2. So that means it'll either be 1 or it would be 2. If you wanted to split into 3 groups, you would do 1 and 3, or 1 and 4 if you wanted 4 groups, right? But I'm just going to do 1 and 2, and let's go ahead and click continue here. So now it's telling me, hey, this is the information, this is the formula, so we can click create and continue. And we can actually view, looks like the output was 1. So if we wanted to retest that formula, right, just to verify that it's working, output was 1 again. Okay, so that's completely possible. Let's try it one more time, see if we can get an output of 2, and we do. So we know that that randomizer is working, right? So we can click finish on that step. And then before we name this and turn it on, let's go ahead and add one final step. Now that we have randomly generated that information, we're going to go ahead and pop it into Infusionsoft in that custom field. So this time we want create or update contact. And we're going to again choose my Monkeypod account. The way that it finds the contact is by using the email address it first extracted, right? So from that initial step, that's the step listed here, new contact, we can choose that email address. How to check for duplicates, you're going to want to choose email there to make sure it finds the same person. Let's leave opt-in set to yes because we do have permission to market to that person. And the rest of those fields don't matter, okay? You can add a tag when this happens saying that the split test has been completed, or you can do some other fancy things there, but somewhere down here toward the bottom, we're going to see the split test field, and this is where we want to merge in that value that was generated as the output of step 2. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and click continue. And finally, we'll just click create and continue, which should complete our test using the Jeg Grenkins contact record. We can view that here. So Jeg Grenkins custom split test 2. And then we can go ahead and click finish. And let's call this Monkeypod split test. And we'll turn this Zap on so it begins running for all new contacts created starting today. So that's about it for developing the Zap. That just took a couple of quick minutes here. And we can go back to this contact record, and if we refresh, I should expect to see a random value, 1 or 2, in the custom field split test field. Right there we have it. So now moving forward, the way that you exercise this split test is by including a decision diamond in your campaign, looking for the value 1 or 2, and then sending them different variations of the same content or different processes to see which one converts at a higher rate, and then merging them back together when you're ready for that split test to be concluded. Or if you're sending broadcasts, you can quite simply include split test value equals 1 or split test value equals 2 as a portion of your criteria, and then just swap the subject lines or something like that in a message that you're sending out. Like I said at the beginning, there are probably other and more eloquent ways to handle this. For example, I know Plus This has an option that allows you to choose a winner after a certain number of tests have performed. I'm sure that My Fusion Helper has some similar functionality. I just haven't played with that one as much. But if you already use Zapier and you're looking for an additional feature to get some more value out of your current subscription, then this is a pretty quick way to set up split testing in Infusionsoft using Zapier. Take care.